Good day everyone. Today I'll be giving a brief overview of Malaysia's palm oil sector, one of the key pillars of our national economy. This industry directly and indirectly employs over 600,000 people and contributes more than 5% to the country's GDP. Malaysia is the second largest producer and exporter of palm oil in the world after Indonesia. Our palm-based product, including crude palm oil, biodiesel, oleochemical and food-grade oils, have long been in high demand globally. Besides driving economic growth, this sector plays a major role in rural development, Malaysia's trade surplus, and even national food security. However, despite its economic importance, the industry faces criticism due to its link to deforestation and biodiversity loss, making it a hot topic in environmental discussion. In 2025, the sector was hit hard when the United States imposed an extra 15% tariff on Malaysian crude palm oil and related products. The US justified this move based on environmental concern and protection of their domestic agriculture. This sudden tariff has created financial, political, and reputational risks for Malaysia, threatening our competitiveness in a major global market. It also increased pressure from global organizations and Western consumer groups calling for transparent, ethical, and sustainable palm oil production. As a result, exporters and policymakers now face a tough situation, either absorb the rising costs or shift to the new market and higher value products. This is further complicated by the increasing global push for ESG compliance, requiring companies to prove supply chain traceability, sustainability, and zero deforestation, all of which demand innovation and better transparency.
This paper takes a close look at the Malaysian palm oil industry, especially how it's coping with global changes like protectionist trade policies and rising environmental concerns. Using tools like SWOT and pestle analysis, the research explores both the strengths and weaknesses of the industry. On the positive side, Malaysia benefits from a strong agriculture base and low production costs. However, it's heavily reliant on exports, and the industry's poor environmental reputation continues to be a major drawback. That said, there are real opportunities too, including growing demand for sustainable and health-focused palm products, especially in large Asian markets like China and India. But the industry also faces serious threats. These include ESG-related boycotts, tougher regulation, and stiff competition from producers in South America and Indonesia. To help the industry stay competitive, the paper offers several strategic recommendations. These include diversifying export markets, investing in digital and green technology, and stepping up international diplomacy, especially through ASEAN and the WTO. The paper also includes a crisis scenario, a simulated 35% tariff, to test how resilient the industry really is. In the end, the message is clear. Malaysia's palm oil sector is at a turning point. While the challenges are real, with smart planning and sustainable innovation, the industry can turn these pressures into long-term opportunities and lead to way in responsible palm oil production.
Now I will talk about pastel. From the political perspective, the trade relationship between Malaysia and United States have become increasingly tense following the imposition of additional tariff on Korean palm oil and palm-based downstream products such as oil, chemical, and biodiesel. This move is seen as a part of the U.S. border protection approaches to safeguard its domestic agriculture industry while exerting pressure on exporting countries to adhere to environmental and labor standards. Okay, now for economical. The consequences of the tariff are significant. The higher cost of Malaysian palm oil in the US market makes it less competitive, resulting in the foreseeable drop in export volume for an export-driven industry like palm oil. Reduced demand translates to substantial revenue losses, particularly for produce and exporters heavily reliant on the US market. The social impact of the tariff is equally concerning. Palm oil is a major source of employment in Malaysia. With declined export, companies may be forced to downsize operation, freezing hiring, or implement layoffs. Such outcome would disproportionately affect low-income communities, particularly the B14 and smallholder farmers, exacerbating rural poverty and socio-economic disparities. Technically, the palm oil industry faces mounting pressure to innovate and adopt sustainable practice to remain relevant and competitive in the global market. Investment in research and development is currently needed to increase productivity, reduce environmental harm, and product value-added product. The adoption of the smart technologies such as artificial intelligence for crop monitoring, satellite system for the land management, and blockchain for supply chain traceability can significantly improve operational efficiency and transparency. In terms of environment, Malaysian palm oil sector continues to face widespread criticism over issues such as deforestation, biodiversity loss, and greenhouse gas emission. Although the government and industry players have introduced introduced initiatives like the MSPO certification to ensure more sustainable practice, international security remains high. For the legal side, the introduction of a new regulator recommended by the US government future complicated Malaysian palm oil export. This included strict compliance with environmental, social, and governance ESG standard and mandatory documentation to prove sustainable sourcing and international labor practice.
As many of you know, palm oil is vital to Malaysia's economy, accounting for over 5% of GDP and supporting more than 900,000 livelihoods. But this year, the industry faces major external pressures. Most notably, the United States imposition of a 15 tariff on Malaysian palm oil, citing environmental and protectionist concerns. This is not just an economic blow, it is a reputational challenge as well. Our SWOT analysis reveals that Malaysia has strong institutional support, efficient production system, and a well-developed value chain. Yet, it depends on export and a tarnished environmental image remain key weaknesses. On the upside, growing demand in Asian markets and technological innovation in sustainable practice present exciting opportunities. However, threats like ESG-related boycotts, climate risk, and fierce competition from Indonesia and South America cannot be ignored. Next, quarter 5 pulses further illustrates intense industry rivalry and high buyer power, particularly from Western multinational demand demanding sustainable searching. Although the threat of new entrant is low due to high barrier, the pressure from substitute product and ESG-driven standard is increasing.
So, as many of you know, the US recently imposed new tariff on Malaysian palm oil due to environmental and labour concern. This is a serious issue as palm oil is one of Malaysian key exports. To respond effectively, we propose three main strategies. First, diversity export markets. Malaysia currently relies heavily on a few countries for palm oil export. If one market like the US become difficult, the impact is huge. So we suggest expanding export to regions like the Middle East, Africa and South Asia. This spread the risk and creates new opportunities. Second, improve sustainability and image. Environmental and ethical concerns are a major reason for the tariffs. Malaysia should ensure that all producers follow MSPO and RSPO standards. Use traceable technology like blockchain and promote palm oil as clean, ethical and eco-friendly. A better global image can reduce future trade barriers. Third, adopt technology to reduce costs and innovate. With tariffs making export for more expensive, we must become more efficient. This includes using automation, smart farming tools, and developing high-value products like biofuels or skincare items from palm oil. If the situation worsens, for example, if tariffs rise to 25%, we suggest Malaysia stop selling to the US, work with Asian allies, and seek temporary government support to protect smallholders and jobs. So in summary, these strategies will help Malaysia's palm oil industry stay competitive, responsible and future ready. Thank you.
Right now, Malaysia depends a lot on one main export partner, the United States. This is risky because if the US changes its policies or face any economic or political issue, Malaysia will be affected, especially in sensitive sectors like palm oil. So it is important for us to reduce this dependence and expand our trade to more countries. We need to be proactive and plan for the future, not just react to problems when they come. One key long-term strategy is to work more closely with ASEAN countries. Through an idea called the ASEAN Palm Oil Council, if Malaysia, Indonesia and Thailand work together, we can set better sustainability standards and speak with one strong voice in global trade. This will help improve the image of palm oil and fight against unfair trade restriction from other countries, especially the European Union. Other strategy is to apply the circular economy approach. Instead of throwing away waste, we can reuse and recycle it. For example, the empty fruit branch from palm oil can become bioenergy and eco-friendly building materials. Other waste can be turned into fertilizers or animal feed. This helps protect the environment and also create new jobs in green technology. In conclusion, Malaysia must act now. We should focus on being more sustainable and less dependent on one market. By working with ASEAN and using circular economic methods, we can build a stronger, more balanced economy that is ready for the future.